The 2017 Hemmings Motor News Great Race, presented by Hagerty, got out of the gate in Jacksonville, Florida. This year, there's a herd of the world's best rally race teams. This challenge of time, speed, and endurance takes these racers 2,600 miles through America's most treasured back roads, the Dixie Highway.
We're in Jacksonville, Florida at the start of the 2017 Hemmings Motor News Great Race presented by Hagerty. And the crowds are here, the cars are here. You just hear the sound of music right then with a flathead Ford cranking up and getting ready to go all the way to Traverse City on the adventure of a lifetime that we at the Great Race get to do every year. What a wonderful experience. Let's go for a ride. The 2017 Hemmings Motor News Great Race presented by Hagerty. Yeehaw!
At the start of the race, you can feel the excitement building as thousands of spectators line the streets to see these amazing vehicles. The event offers a great spirit of competition, but it's the fun and fellowship that keeps these racers coming back. Big Daddy Don Garlitz, this year's Grand Marshal, was on hand to drop the green flag. Teams lead out exactly 1 minute apart, opting out of the normal highway route to travel the scenic back roads into Georgia.
We have 121 cars here today, going to take the green flag and go 2,100 miles, 9 days, from here in Jacksonville all the way to northern Michigan to Traverse City. These cars are from 1916 all the way to 1972. They're from all over the United States and 9 international teams, 7 of them from Japan, 1 from England, and 1 from Germany.
As the interstate systems became the preferred routes, this network of old highways became a scenic drive for all to enjoy. This year's chosen route connects the dots between a selection of beautiful towns in 7 states. 120 race teams thrilled to the great spirit of competition, fun, and fellowship that keeps these racers coming back year after year. The Hagerty Green Dragon is a 1917 Peerless, driven by Jonathan Klinger with the navigator David Reckow. The Peerless Motor Company in Cleveland, Ohio was one of the first car makers to introduce electric lighting. This car has been shining brightly in every great race since 1997. The rally staff has designed a challenging course to keep the racers on their toes, using the historic Dixie Highway as a guide to some of the most beautiful scenery east of the Mississippi. Here are some of the teams to watch as favorites to win this race. 2-time grand champions, Team Restoration Supply Company, driven by Howard Sharp with Doug Sharp as navigator. This 1916 Hudson Pikes Peak Hill Climber is a 6-cylinder, 70-horsepower machine. With 25 years of great race competition experience under their tires, you know Howard and Doug are sure to finish near the top of the field. Another team to watch is Graff and Bell, driving a 1932 Ford Roadster. Curtis Graff as driver and Wayne Bell as navigator are both great race legends. Curtis has raced in every great race event and was grand champion in 1995, while Wayne is a 5-time grand champion. Stone Age Racing is proud to back Sawyer Stone as the youngest grand champion and is navigating this year as his grandfather Dave Reeder drives their 1932 Ford Victoria. These fellas in their 21 stud 3-speed will be another grand champion to watch because they finished second in last year's race.
I've grown up on this rally with him. He's been doing it since 1988, so there's pictures of me 2 years old looking under the car trying to figure out what's going on, and when I was 9 years old he asked me to come with him, so I've been doing this with him for 15 years now, and it's just the greatest experience I could ever ask for. You spend 2 weeks side by side in a car that you built together, that you work on together, and you know, get to see the whole country together. It's couldn't ask for anything better.
Another exciting team to watch is Team Gentry, otherwise known as the Dixie Darlings. These girls have grown up around the great race. The driver is Olivia, a high school senior, 16 years old, while her sister Jenna is 14 and doing the navigating in this 1963 Dodge Dart convertible. They're competing in the rookie division. Olivia and Jenna's mom, Beth Gentry, is the navigator for the team Pop's Passion, featuring Jody Knowles as the driver. They're racing in the expert division in a 1932 Ford Cabriolet. The number 66 on this car is the only retired number on the great race, and it's in honor of Beth's father, Joe Knowles. The great race is the ultimate bonding experience for car people of all ages. We have teams consisting of father-sons, sisters, and grandfather-grandsons that are able to spend this time together enjoying the back roads of America. The teams had to battle the heat of Florida, but arrived safely in Tifton, Georgia for the first overnight stop of the 2017 event. The city calls itself the Friendly City, and with good reason, as the racers were met with a festive atmosphere and one of the best home-cooked meals ever on the great race. The winner of Stage 1 is Fredette Racing Products. The driver is Jeff Fredette and the navigator Eric Fredette in their 1933 Ford pickup with a time of 1.63 seconds. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more of the great race in just a moment. The Hemmings Motor News Great Race, presented by Hagerty, is brought to you by Coker Tire Company, the world's leading supplier of tires and wheels for collectors' vehicles since 1958. The start of Day 2 has each team leaving a designated area outside of town. The teams will be traveling through some beautiful farmland as they make their way into Newnan, Georgia, a hometown to several of current and past great racers. This small town is straight out of the movies. It's been the set for several films. What greater way to celebrate America than to take these great autos through the heart of America and feel the patriotism and love for the United States.
We're on the town square of Newnan, Georgia. This is right here in the deep south. We love town squares. We love small town America, and we're doing the great race right here in Newnan, Georgia. On our way north to Chattanooga, Tennessee tonight, and then on to Bowling Green and points north on the great race. Check it out. They've got about 12 guys that are their entourage. They're driving this old Franklin right here with a Hallscott motor. And let me tell you something, the wandering troubadours of Finland know what great race is all about. It's about passion, it's about vintage cars, it's about small towns, and let me tell you something, they're having fun. We've got cars from all over the world. We've got teams from Japan, teams from Germany, teams from England. This is a Sunbeam Talbot. It's got a T on the end, but it's a Sunbeam Talbot, and they are an absolutely wonderful team. They talk a little funny, but I'll translate for you. Thank you for being here, boys. It is a beautiful car. This is a great example of a 2000 GT, and they are up and coming. Better than Ferraris, made to the Japanese standards. It is a beautiful car. Thank you for bringing this car and being part of Team Japan on the great race all the way across America. You guys give them a great Newnan welcome, okay? Stop. These guys are knuckleheads. They're from San Diego and Los Angeles. This is a 1961 Fiat Multipla. Can you say Multipla? That's M-U-L-T-I-P-L-A. And when they left the starting line, they did it backwards. The radiator is in the back. They went through the start line backwards. Knuckleheads. This guy, no, this is that guy, this is that guy, and this is this guy. Great competitors. We're glad to have them in a great race. We got a nice little AMX coming here with a 360 motor. Wonderful car. Javelin AMX. What a wonderful little car. Pretty rare car too, Mike. You just don't see them everywhere.
Participants got a quick look at great racer Wayne Vick's private collection of cars in his hometown of Armuchee, Georgia, at a pit stop at the warehouse, what he calls his hangout. Racers will see everything from an early Model T fire truck to Model A's to flathead Fords. Racers were welcomed into the hometown of the great race and sponsor Coker Tire as they entered into downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee. Duck boat rides on the river were available to racers, as well as the Tennessee Aquarium and a local car show. Well-known announcer Motormouth is recovering from health issues and is expected to make a full recovery for next year. Honest Mike Goodman did a great job filling in as announcer this year. Competitors were treated to dinner inside the Coker Tire Museum.
Everybody's running the same race, the same rally, same course and times. So you're judged on a curve based on the age of your car. And if I'm driving this 1972 car, I've got a factor of 1. So a raw score of 10 is just out of 10. But if I'm driving a 16 Hudson, its factor is a 0.66. So that 10 seconds becomes 6.6 seconds. And over a period of 9 days of rallying, that'll make a difference.
Well, this morning we left Tifton, Georgia, pretty bright and early. Looked like it was going to rain, but the whole route we didn't encounter any rain, and there was a lot of shade, so it actually felt pretty good coming up through the woods. And got here about 30 minutes ago, and it's a great town, great location, and good stop.
The winner of Stage 2 is Stone Age Racing, with driver Dave Reeder and navigator Sawyer Stone in their 1932 Ford Victoria with a time of 2.43 seconds.
Pretty long, all the way across the state of Georgia. Got into some hills, but had a 2.43 second day, and that was good enough for the win. We actually tied with somebody, but had a car that was 4 years older, and that's what won it for us, having the older car.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with more of the great race in just moments. The great race continues on day 3 through the moonshine country of Tennessee into the hot rod capital of the world, Bowling Green, Kentucky. Racers started their day at the Coker Tire Museum before heading out onto the beautiful back roads of eastern Tennessee. Murfreesboro, Tennessee is hometown to the newest X-Cup team from Central High School. Cannonsburg Village, an 1800s historical site, was the venue for the racers for lunch before they traveled on to Bowling Green, Kentucky. Great racers range from longtime automobile collectors to young folks who've just begun their journey into the old car hobby. Because of the diverse field of competitors, there are 5 divisions. The X Cup division consists of young people, generally in some sort of group or class, who build a car specifically for the event. The driver must be 21 years of age or older, and the navigator 21 years or younger. Rookie division. The rookie class is for all of the first-time great racers. Sportsman's division. This class is filled with die-hard great racers, young and old, and it's designed for a wide range of participants. Expert division. Racers designated to run in the expert class have to comply with a set of rules that are based on the finishes of previous year's events. Essentially, these are racers who generally finish well but have never been grand champions. Grand Championship Division. This division features only competitors who have won the event in previous years. If any member of the team has ever won the great race, then that team is entered in this class. Generally, most grand champions have been part of the great race family since the early days, so these are truly the veterans of the event. There aren't many towns that understand today's car culture better than Bowling Green, Kentucky. The great race stopped here at the end of day 3 for the first time since a pit stop there more than 20 years ago. Racers made their way into town, detouring to take laps around the 3.5-mile National Corvette Museum Motorsports Park. The racers enjoyed driving the course and kidded each other about setting new records before they headed to the venue in downtown on the square.
I heard that you kind of let it go on the racetrack. How fast did you get going there, Miss Olivia?
I wasn't looking.
You wasn't even looking?
I wasn't.
How fast did she go, Jenna? She was just holding on. This is Olivia Gentry and Jenna Gentry. They're 16 and 14. They grew up on the great race. They're rallying right behind their mama and having the time of their life. We're so proud of them. They're out here doing it, having a wonderful time. Go see what your scores are, girls. We got a car here, Mike. There's a 1955 Ford Thunderbird coming in. Car number 79 is a beautiful little car. I love this car. I love barn finds. I had a little TV show a few years ago called Back Road Gold, and I looked for stuff with original paint, and this is one of them. I just love this thing. If you don't mind, leave the keys in it and the title in the glove box this evening. It only weighs 900 pounds. So let me tell you something, if it wasn't for Toshi, we would probably not have all of these Japanese teams that have come. Toshi, would you say hello to the folks of Bowling Green?
Hello, Bowling Green. Thank you coming to Great Race for support. My name is Toshi Akasaka from Tokyo, Japan. I love Great Race. Thank you so much. Arigato!
Arigato! Find out your score here, Toshi.
So today we had a pretty good day. We actually, there was a maze and we turned right onto the first paved road where we were supposed to turn left onto the first paved road. So we realized that we had made a mistake, go back around, and were able to make up the time. So that was pretty interesting. It was definitely a lot of fun, but we ended up overall with like a 27. So not a great overall score, but hopefully we can throw out some of it and be better.
So on the trophy run the first day, it didn't count to overall score, which I was kind of upset about that, but we did pretty good on the trophy run. We had 8 seconds, and we beat our mother, who is in the expert division. So everyone was really excited about that. They were talking about how it was going to be our last because she didn't want us to beat her, but she was happy for us and glad. And she can take some of the credit because she taught us. So
The winner of Stage 3 is Motor City Racing, with driver Josh Hull and navigator Trevor Stahl in their 1932 Ford Speedster with a time of 4.05 seconds.
We started off the day very slow in our calibration run, so we had to adjust our math throughout the course of the day to make up for our loss of time. And our math paid off. Navigator did very good doing that. He told me the speeds to stay, and I stayed right there, glued right on the speed he wanted me to do.
Stay tuned for more of the Great Race after these messages. The racers crossed over the Ohio River between Kentucky and Indiana after leaving Bowling Green. Upon entering the Hoosier State for the first time in more than a decade on the Great Race, participants rallied in the Hoosier National Forest in the southern part of the state before hitting French Lick, Indiana for lunch. Indiana is the essence of rural America. Small towns dot the landscape from one end of the state to the other and are as big a part of America as mom, baseball, and apple pie. No town on the race this year exemplifies that more than Franklin, Indiana. Even though it's only 25 miles south of Indianapolis, it feels like it's hundreds of miles from the fast pace of the capital city. One look at this town's historic courthouse and smiling faces of the locals makes Franklin the perfect overnight promotional stop. The winner of Stage 4 is Pop's Passion, with driver Jody Knowles and navigator Beth Gentry in their 1932 Ford Cabriolet with a time of 1.62 seconds.
Well, it's been educational for us. You know, this is our first year. We've kind of been putting that through the pace, because if you get lost, for example, you make a wrong turn, then you got to make up a bunch of time. So kind of driving it over its head a little bit for what a Rolls Royce normally be driven like probably, but it's overall doing well for us. So it's starting to feel like a normal car to me after driving all the back roads for a couple days.
Yeah, we like going to small towns because that's where all the good people are at, and they like cars. You know, you go to big towns, people are not really into cars, so we like going to small towns. This has been a great turnout here in Franklin.
We're still hanging in there. We had a real good day today, but you know, every day's a new day. I mean, you never know. You don't know you're going to catch a cow in the middle of the street, or a train, or anything can interrupt your thought line and how you're going and that sort of thing. You know, but it's a fun deal. It really is. It's as good and as clean a hobby as you could have. Old cars, you know.
Huge crowds and spectators, along with fellow car enthusiasts in all 19 towns, welcomed the Great Race participants. These crowds lined the streets as the antique automobiles made their way to the lunch stops and to finish the day's route. The event is always free to the public, where they have an up-close and personal view of these classic cars. Parades, car shows, festivals, and other activities were held during the Great Race, and one can always find plenty to do with the kids. The Great Race continues on Day 5 into the heart of classic car country, Auburn, Indiana. The Great Race veered off its northern trek to dip into the Buckeye State for just a few miles for a lunch stop in the hometown of the first man to set foot on the moon, Neil Armstrong. Racers couldn't leave town without noticing the incredible late 1800s architecture of the buildings in downtown Wapakoneta.
What makes a good rally? The people. The people, the hosting. The rally is an excuse to have a party. And you're the party, and we love to come and see everybody that's hosting these cities. And to me, that's probably the most exciting part. Rallying after 26 years isn't as much fun as it used to be. Getting a good score is okay, but you got to run the rally to get that. But once the thing's over, it's the after effect that, to my opinion, is the best part of the whole deal.
Indiana held the lead in the automobile industry in the early days. Car companies were seen more in Indiana than any other state, and no other town was better known than Auburn for turning out those cars. The Auburn, Cord, and Duesenberg automobiles were built in this town. The Great Race stopped at the ACD Museum in Auburn, where the finest collection of marks in the world are housed. They also highlighted other automobiles manufactured in the state. Auburn has also become home to one of the greatest auctions in the country, Auctions America. They held a car show with live music, and it was a perfect way to end the evening.
A lot of people do it with one and done, and so I would say 50% get hooked, the other 50% do it and they don't ever come back again. But it's just the competition, the camaraderie, the family atmosphere, the Feenies, all these other people are like our second family to us. So tonight we've got problems with our car. People will be pitching in with parts or whatever they can do to help us, plus to see the country. I mean, what better way to see America than to drive it in an old car? I have a special reason why we do it, because we own Hemmings Motor News, and our job is to grow the hobby. And I think you can't find a better way to go out there and get people like this excited about the old car hobby. Maybe they might join us next year down the road. And we know that happens all the time.
The winner of Stage 5 is Feeney, with driver Louise Feeney and navigator Jim Feeney in their 1936 Ford 4-door deluxe police car with a time of 6.64 seconds.
Yeah, we all have our horror stories and also successful stories. Like, you get messed up, you think you have a terrible day, and you come in and you got a 1. You're able to recover, and that's a lot of fun. And those are the things you remember. Not the smooth days where everything goes well, but the ones where you have a few panic attacks and you still recover and succeed.
There's more of the great race coming right up. Day 6 is going to be a car enthusiast dream. We're leaving Auburn for Hickory Corners, Michigan, to have lunch at the Gilmore Car Museum, the #1 ranked museum in the nation. Then it's on to Ypsilanti, Michigan, another city rich in automobile history. After heading out of Auburn, racers made a pit stop in the small town of Shipshewana, Indiana. This town is home to the most incredible collection of Hudson automobiles in the world. From there, they head to Hickory Corners, Michigan for lunch at the Gilmore Car Museum.
We were in the Hostetler Museum, and that's all Hudson's. I saw a mile-a-minute Hudson Roadster. I saw a Shaw race car, Hudson race car. I saw Hudson's just about every year. Hudson pickups, Hudson, everything. Unbelievable. Then we left there and we went about another 40 miles further west and we went to the Gilmore Museum. Boy, if you have never been to the Gilmore Museum, you are missing it. You gotta come check out the Gilmore Museum. We had a wonderful time. They fed us. They have displays on 90 acres of vintage cars, vintage everything there. It's absolutely the most amazing museum. Today was museum day 6 in the great race going toward Traverse City.
The Gilmore has a youth program that contained an X-Cup team for the first time this year.
These kids on the team are all high school seniors, and they're part of our Gilmore Garage Works program, which is a program we have here at the museum every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon during the school year. And it's open to any high school student in the area. There is no cost. It is privately funded, and we use the old cars to teach basic life skills.
4 years ago, I did a road trip with a friend, part of our bucket list, and we were looking for something else to do, and we saw the great race. And this last 4 years has been the most fantastic adventure that we've ever done. It's been really good indeed.
Corky here again, and we're in Ypsilanti, Michigan, day 6 of the 2017 Hemmings Motor News Great Race presented by Hagerty. Day 6 of day 9, that means we got 3 more days to go all the way to Traverse City, Michigan. We've lost maybe about 6 or 8 cars. We had one that went in the ditch just today. We had some other ones, lost axles, had a block broken, but let me tell you something, we're having fun. The Lord has shined on us by great sunshine, no rain, beautiful weather. It's not been too hot, not been too cold. Man, what fun you have when you're crisscrossing across America in the great race. Here we go, we're on our way north. On the great race, a perfect score on any individual leg means that you have passed exactly 1 minute in front of the one behind you and the one in front of you, exactly at the time that the rally master prescribed for your car to pass the checkpoint. Each of the cars start at an exact time in the start of the day, and each car starts a minute apart. So an ace means they pass that checkpoint at exactly 0. That's acing that leg. How many? Oh, two aces. Look here. Not only do they have one of the coolest cars in the Great Race, they have a Skyline 1971 GTR Nissan. They're from Team Japan. They have a wonderful car, but are they excited? Look here, car number 82. Not one, but two aces. Woo-wee! Arigato! Yeah, aces. Congratulations, my friend. Yep.
I think the purpose of the X Cup is to bring kids in and let them see what the race is about. Obviously, most of these kids can't afford to own their own vintage car and put it in a race across country. The hotel expenses, the mechanical expenses are pretty high. So X Cup is an opportunity for kids and really other adults. I wouldn't have been in X Cup or even known anything about the Great Race had it not been for X Cup. And so it gives an opportunity for new people to come in, bring kids in, youth, get them exposed to it. I know our kids are 18 years old this year. They graduated high school this past May. And they're already talking about coming back next year or the year after, even after they get out of X Cup, coming back with their own car and doing it themselves. They've got it in their blood now, and they're pretty excited about it.
We have just about every single car that we could have on the Great Race. We have wonderful cars. We have Model A Fords, we have Chevrolets, we have everything. We even have Rolls Royces that are competing on the Great Race. This car is a wonderful car. Excuse me, ma'am, do you have any Grey Poupon?
Known in automotive circles as the town with the last Hudson dealership, Ypsilanti, Michigan has been a huge part of the industry for a century. It was home to Willow Run, the World War II production plant that produced the B-24 bomber. Willow Run later was where Corvairs were built. The last Hudson dealership is now the Ypsilanti Automotive Heritage Museum and was the site of dinner for the racers.
Well, I think if you look around, it's great cars, 120 great places we visit, and all the people here. There's a lot of interest, and it's just all people from all walks of life, and a lot have memories to all those old cars. That's quite unique here.
The winner of Stage 6 is Pop's Passion, with driver Jody Knowles and navigator Beth Gentry in their 1932 Ford Cabriolet, with a time of 8.91 seconds. Don't go away, we'll be right back with more of the Great Race in just moments. Day 7 dawns with some of the crews waking up in the shadows of the Big House in Ann Arbor, Michigan, on the campus of the University of Michigan, navigating around the outskirts of Detroit to the beautiful town of Chesterfield. The automotive industry holds a special place in Michigan. The state is held together by its automotive roots. The steel industry sold to the car manufacturers, who then used ships to transport those vehicles. People watched these ships as they grew up, which inspired them to work within the industry. One can see the sense of pride in the state anywhere they look, and it's all because of the car industry.
This morning we got up, day 7 we got up, and we headed off to Chesterfield, Michigan, to home of Group Stahl. Ted and Mary Stahl put on the Ritz for us. They had wonderful food. What a wonderful collection of cars. They had music boxes. They had an orchestra. They had an amazing motorized orchestra that you could play, and it was absolutely amazing. We left Chesterfield and headed up toward Frankenmuth to finish for day 7.
One of the most unique city stops ever on the Great Race was in Frankenmuth, Michigan. With a population of less than 5,000, Frankenmuth is not the typical Great Race overnight stop, but that's because it's not your typical town. Called Little Bavaria, Frankenmuth is a tourist community, and all the structures in town resemble Old Bavaria.
Top 5 teams are competing for $150,000. The top team gets $50,000. Not only that, they get to brag to their fellow competitors about how well they did, and they get to be the king of the hill for the whole year until next year's great race. You know, it's all down to the wire. The next 48 hours we'll know who is the king of the hill and gets that great big old great race grand champion bird.
So they've done very well. They were second, I think, yesterday in the standings so far. So it's a good group. We have a student driver and a student navigator, which is kind of unique to the X-Cup teams. So I think we're the only one with a student driver. So it's kind of unique, but this truck is a pretty popular truck on the tour. So a lot of kids, you've just seen some kids crawl up in there and sit in the truck. They kind of think it's Mater. So it's a fun truck, and again, our guys do a great job with this. They donate a lot of their time, effort, and money to participate in this race.
Yeah, we've had a great trip. We started with a 34 Phaeton, Ford Phaeton, down in Jacksonville, and then we had worked on it for 3 or 4 days, had a lot of mechanical issues, and the owners of the car were kind enough to lend us their car to use this beautiful 67 Pontiac GTO. And we've had no trouble ever since and had a great time crossing the country.
We're here in Frankenmuth, Michigan, and today's the end of the 7th day of the great race. Today is the last day of competition where you can throw out legs. You can throw out, depending on which division you're in, 3, 4, or 5 legs. Your worst ones. You keep your best ones. But starting tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, you have to keep all of your scores. We've been about 1,800 miles, maybe 1,900 miles from Jacksonville to here in Frankenmuth. And so everybody's got all the experience they need. It's been 7 days, there's 2 days left. So they know what to do now, so they have to keep all their scores. Tomorrow and Sunday are called Championship Run. And they all know that this is really where the money is on the line, the championship is on the line, and only fractions of seconds separate first, second, third, and fourth.
Wayne Carini, a great friend of Corky Coker and star of Chasing Classic Cars on Velocity, stopped by to greet the racers at the checkpoint. He's going to continue on with the race until the finish. Winner of Stage 7 is Pop's Passion, with driver Jody Knowles and navigator Beth Gentry in their 1932 Ford Cabriolet, with a time of 7.29 seconds. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more of the great race in just moments. The Hemmings Motor News Great Race, presented by Hagerty, is brought to you by Coker Tire Company, the world's leading supplier of tires and wheels for collectors' vehicles since 1958. The great race continues on day 8. Across the Mackinac Bridge, onto the Upper Peninsula of Michigan to Sault Ste. Marie. No trip to northern Michigan would be complete without a stop in a city on the Great Lakes. Alpena, Michigan is paradise for those who love the outdoors. Situated on Lake Huron, Alpena is home to the Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary. The sanctuary protects an estimated 116 historically significant shipwrecks, ranging from 19th century wooden sidewheelers to 20th century steel-hulled steamers. The racers enjoyed lunch in Alpena.
This year the course has been a little more difficult than it has been in recent years, with a lot more legs in each stage. And what that is an opportunity for you to do something wrong. There's more frequent checkpoints. Entering late into the week, the course gets a little more technical. I won't say that the Rally Master stacks it against the racers, but it does get harder as the week goes. Fatigue kicks in, the days get a little bit longer. You should have settled down in terms of rallying, but with all the fatigue and the course being very technical the last 2 or 3 days, it's very difficult.
When traveling through Michigan, the billboards are purely about Michigan. People have more state pride than any other state, and it's because of the automotive industry. The racers pulled into Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, just an hour north of the majestic Mackinac Bridge on Canada Day. Fireworks from just across the St. Mary's River in Canada were visible after dark. This town has a rich automotive history. Residents grew up hoping to get a job in the automotive industry while watching shipments of automobiles travel up and down the river. The winner of Stage 8 is Fredette Racing Products. The driver is Jeff Fredette and the navigator Eric Fredette in their 1933 Ford pickup with a time of 4.89 seconds. Traverse City, Michigan was the start city for the 2012 Great Race, and it was so spectacular that racers still talk about it. People in the collector hobby are some of the greatest people in the world, and they're using this opportunity again this year to raise money for various charities. This year's official charity of the Great Race is once again the Vintage Car Rally Association. Hometown to presenting sponsor Hagerty, Traverse City is also home of the annual Cherry Festival, and the finish of the Great Race Show was one of the highlights of the event. The Great Race finish at Traverse City created a family atmosphere that will have people talking about it more and more as the years go by. The Great Race continues to inspire racers to come back year after year. Families often compete, making it a bonding experience like no other. For 30 years, people have found themselves, along with their families, joining in the fun, time and time again. The event creates an experience unlike any other that you'll want to enjoy every year. The winner of Stage 9 is Stone Age Racing, with driver Dave Reeder and navigator Sawyer Stone in their 1932 Ford Victoria with a time of 3.24 seconds. The racers got to enjoy the Cherry Festival as scores were tabulated and the winners of each division of the Great Race were announced. These racers made the 2,300-mile journey over the course of 9 days. Our winners of the 2017 Great Race in the Rookie Division are Olivia and Jenna Gentry in their 1963 Dodge Dart with an overall time of 2 minutes and 33.44 seconds.
The Dixie Darlings! The Dixie Darlings campaigning their grandfather's 1963 Dodge Dart convertible.
X-Cup, it's Galax, Virginia, in their 1928 Ford Model A Roadster with an overall time of 4 minutes and 34.56 seconds.
Virginia, Tom Luttrell, Nathan Donnelly, Derek Davis II out of Galax X-Cup division in the 1928 Ford Model A Roadster Highboy.
In Sportsman, it's Mike Weaver and Craig Jongarius in their 1931 Ford Model A with an overall time of 1 minute and 46.11 seconds.
Congratulations on winning the Sportsman Division for the 2017 race.
In the Grand Champion Division, it's Howard and Doug Sharp in their 1916 Hudson with an overall time of 1 minute and .72 seconds.
$4,500 for winning third place overall, $10,000 for winning the Grand Champion Division, driving a 1916 Hudson Super 6 Hill Climber. Howard Sharp, Doug Sharp out of Fairport, New York. Bring it on in.
So second place
25 years they've competed in Great Race. Twice they brought home the big money. Congratulations, guys, on winning the Expert Division in your 16 Hudson Pikes Peak Hill Climber. Howard and Doug out of Fairport, New York.
The winner and grand champion of the 2017 Hemmings Motor News Great Race presented by Hagerty is Expert Divisions team Jody Knowles and Beth Gentry in their 1932 Ford Cabriolet with an overall time of 44.55 seconds.